USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
One of two suspects in a school shooting in Colorado yesterday is being identified as 18-year-old Devin Erickson. A second juvenile suspect has not been named. The two, who are students at the STEM school Highlands Ranch south of Denver, were apprehended after killing one student and injuring 8 others there. This student at the school says,
I'm just a bit shaky. I'm scared, but I'm glad that I'm safe and I didn't get hurt, and I'm glad that a lot of people I know didn't get hurt either.
Classes at the school have been canceled for the rest of the week. Uber and Lyft drivers across the nation plan to strike today, so people who rely on ride-sharing could be in for a rough commute. Many drivers say after expenses from car insurance to fuel and vehicle maintenance, it's nearly impossible for them to make a living. This is USA Radio News. Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill have opposite opinions of how to proceed after the release of the Mueller report on the Russia investigation. The Senate's top Democrat, Mitch McConnell, saying on the floor yesterday,
they told everyone there had been a conspiracy between Russia and the Trump campaign. Yet on this central question, the special counsel's finding is clear. Case closed.
And his Democratic counterpart, Chuck Schumer, said moments later,
so our leader says, let's move on. It's sort of like Richard Nixon saying, let's move on, at the height of the investigation of his wrongdoing. Of course he wants to move on. He wants to cover up. He wants to silence on one of the most serious issues we face.
Meanwhile, a House committee is set to consider contempt of Congress citations for Attorney General Bill Barr and the Justice Department today after they refused to honor a subpoena to give the Judiciary Committee the full unredacted final report from Robert Mueller. And this is USA Radio News. Legislation is headed to the full Louisiana State Senate for consideration, proposing to let voters decide whether to amend the state constitution to prohibit most abortions. House Bill 425 cleared a Senate panel yesterday without objection. State law currently says abortions would be prohibited in Louisiana should Roe v. Wade be overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court, but the Constitution makes no mention of the matter. The measure was amended to show that abortions would be permitted to save the life of the mother, or in instances of rape, and thus has to be voted on again by the House in Louisiana. Meanwhile, Texas has a bill banning late-term abortions for terminally disabled fetuses, and it heads to the House today after passing the Senate on Tuesday. The bill extends the state's ban on abortions after the 20th week of pregnancy to include abortions prompted by severe fetal abnormalities. Iran says it will no longer fully comply with the nuclear deal it signed with the United States and 5 other nations. Today's announcement coming a year after President Trump pulled the U.S. out of that agreement. Iran saying in a statement the Islamic Republic will no longer abide by limits on keeping enriched uranium and heavy water reserves. And Denver voters have rejected a measure that would have decriminalized so-called magic mushrooms. 46% in favor, 54% were against. And for USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.